President Donald Trump said on Wednesday he was considering a plan to halt domestic flights to coronavirus hotspots inside the United States as the country struggles to contain a pandemic projected to kill at least 100,000 people. "We're certainly looking at it, but once you do that you really are clamping down on an industry that is desperately needed," Trump told a White House news briefing. Such a plan might conceivably shut down traffic at airports in hard-hit New York, New Orleans and Detroit and extend to major hubs across the country as infections spread. "I am looking at hotspots. I am looking where flights are going into hotspots," Trump said. "But closing up every single flight on every single airline, that's a very, very, very rough decision. But we are thinking about hotspots, when you go from spot to spot, both hot." Domestic travel has already been sharply curtailed because of sinking demand. Billions of dollars to prop up the air industry were included in a $2.2 trillion rescue package Trump signed last Friday. Trump continued to express opposition to imposing a national shutdown, an outcome that some in the country have called for to save lives. Trump said flexibility was needed because some states had low infection rates. On Tuesday, Trump and physicians advising him said that between 100,000 and 240,000 people in the United States were likely to die from the virus in coming weeks even if Americans adhere closely to stay-at-home guidelines for April. Faced with the prospect of Americans needing care for the virus but without health insurance, Trump and Vice President Mike Pence said they were looking at the issue. Trump said he would meet with major U.S. oil company executives on Friday. A drop in gasoline prices, prompted by a global glut and a dispute between Russia and Saudi Arabia that prompted the Saudis to increase output, has put pressure on the oil companies. Trump has sought to reduce the number of migrants entering the country from Latin America, but said on Wednesday he recognized the United States needed migrant workers traditionally allowed into the country to work on farms. "I have given a commitment to the farmers that they are going to continue to come," he said. Pelosi wants vote-by-mail provisions in next U.S. coronavirus bill. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said on Wednesday she wants to virus-proof the November election by including funding to boost voting by mail in the next pandemic response plan being put together by Democrats in the House of Representatives. Pelosi said at least $2 billion, and ideally $4 billion, was needed to enable voting by mail, to give citizens a safe way to vote during the coronavirus pandemic, which has killed more than 4,300 people across the United States. She noted Democrats got just $400 million for that purpose in the $2.3 trillion coronavirus stimulus bill President Donald Trump signed into law on Friday. "Vote by mail is so important to our democracy so that people have access to voting and not be deterred, especially at this time, by the admonition to stay home," Pelosi told reporters. Trump told Fox News on Monday that voting by mail would hurt the Republican Party. Pelosi rejected that argument. "When I was chair of the California Democratic Party many years ago, the Republicans always prevailed in the absentee ballots," she said. "They know how to do this. Indeed, some Democrats fear voting by mail could disenfranchise minorities and low-income voters who tend to move more frequently." The $400 million in the recent coronavirus bill is intended to help state and local officials bolster vote by mail and early voting, expand facilities and hire more poll workers. But Democrats want more money to prepare states for a possible surge in voting by mail in the fall as millions of voters are set to choose the nation's next president on November 3. Pelosi said the Postal Service also needs more money. The coronavirus crisis has already upended the Democratic race to pick a challenger to face Trump. 3 states, Wyoming, Hawaii and Alaska, have scrapped in-person voting for Democratic primaries on April 4, and will only permit voting by mail. Ohio pushed back its March 17 voting, setting a new date of April 28 for a primary conducted almost completely by mail, and at least 8 other states pushed their primaries back to May or June. Democrats are putting together a 4th spending bill to battle the crisis, with an emphasis on infrastructure spending. Trump says he wants to rebuild infrastructure, but other Republicans have shown little interest, seeing it as an attempt to push through Democratic priorities. Changing election laws has nothing to do with our war against the disease, House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy said in a statement Tuesday.